That had same-sex couples dashing to county clerk's offices to get hitched.
That's right. Fox 7's Rudy Koski is live at the Travis County Clerk's office with reaction. Rudy.
Hi, Dave. Hi, Lauren. There's a big celebration going on here at the Travis County Clerk's office. A lot of folks have gathered out front. They're cheering the couples as they all come out with their new marriage licenses. Now, several couples actually got here earlier this morning in order to be among the first in Travis County to get a marriage license. The couples were put in a waiting room, though, first, and the celebration put on hold until a legal review could be done. Around 10:30 this morning, though, marriage licenses started being issued here in Travis County. It was a moment that happened despite objections by Republican state leaders. Essentially, there is a tie, though, for the first same-sex couple in Travis County to get a license because of this new Supreme Court ruling. Cindy Stocking and Lupe Garcia were issued the first ticket number 1, but because of a typo, Gina Dawson and Charlotte Rutherford were actually the first to complete the process. Here's what they had to say as they left. What does this mean to you?
It means equality.
Yeah, you know, it's, yeah, what she said.
I don't have to be afraid if one of us dies first that the other one isn't protected.
Did you feel a sense of pride, a sense of history? What were you feeling?
A little bit of both, because we had anticipated when we got here this morning that there would already be a line of people, and so we had no idea that we would get to be number 1 in getting the first license. So it was exciting for us. I'm so happy that it happened in our lifetime.
Now, by law, there is a 72-hour waiting period, a kind of cooling off period for marriages before you can actually go to a preacher or to a judge to actually tie the knot. But district court judges can waive that 72-hour waiting period, and a lot of folks are heading straight to the Travis County Courthouse right now to ask a judge to waive that period. It's done individually. Matter of fact, I'm seeing on social media sites other judges in other counties here in the state of Texas. They're actually doing that right now, waiving the 72-hour period and tying, letting folks get married right now today. Now, Travis County folks here say that they are going to have extended hours to help folks come in as the process goes on. This weekend, the office will be closed, but during the 4th of July weekend, we're told that the Travis County Clerk's office will be open and to help process the folks through. We'll have more on this later on today at 5. Now back to you in the studio.
All right, Rudy Koski live at the Travis County Clerk's office.
And Attorney General Ken Paxton released a statement following this controversial ruling, reading in part, quote, "The impact of this opinion on our society and the familial fabric of our nation will be profound. Far from a victory for anyone, this is instead a dilution of marriage as a societal institution," end quote.
In other news, police are investigating after 2 people were found dead in Kyle. Officials say the bodies of 2 adults were found last night in the 800 block of Sledge Street. Their deaths are being classified as suspicious. Autopsies have been ordered. They could be performed as early as today in an effort to learn more about how these 2 died. They're not being identified right now until next of kin can be notified. We'll certainly bring you more information as it becomes available.
We're learning more about the series of events that led up to Sergeant Christopher Kelly's death this week. Home surveillance video shows part of the police chase in Hutto that involved Sergeant Kelly. Investigators say the sports car was involved in an earlier traffic violation after the car slid into a yard and smashed into a fire hydrant. The driver, identified as Colby Williamson, then ran from the scene. Sergeant Kelly caught up with him several blocks away, and according to court documents, Williamson broke away from him while being handcuffed, then jumped into Kelly's police unit. Police say Kelly tried to stop his vehicle as Williamson put it into reverse, and Kelly was knocked to the ground and run over. Williamson is charged with aggravated assault on a public servant, but that charge could be upgraded. Services have been set for Sergeant Kelly. The visitation is Monday from 6 to 9 at Cook Walden Capitol Park in Pflugerville. Then funeral services will take place Tuesday at 11 a.m. at Shoreline Church in Austin.
An American company came under attack in France today. The suspect slammed a car through the gate of a gas factory in a town near Lyon, then set off an explosion after smashing that vehicle into gas canisters. Authorities say a severed head with Arabic writing on it was found at a post at the plant's entrance. 2 flags with Arabic writing were also discovered nearby.
This individual wants to make it clear and not let anyone mistake the fact in the West that this is part of an ISIS, part of a terror operation that he is participating in order to sow chaos in the West.
Several people are in custody after the attack. One of them was previously monitored for suspected extremist ties.
And this comes as two other deadly attacks also happened today, one at a Tunisia beach resort. 27 people were killed when shots were fired into the crowded beach. One of the gunmen was killed by security forces. The other got away. And in Kuwait, at least 16 people are dead after an attack on a Shiite mosque. ISIS is claiming responsibility for that attack.
Cedar Park, Georgetown, and Leander police want to create a Central Texas regional SWAT team. Each department has less than 10 SWAT-trained officers, so when major incidents happen, they have to call in other agencies like the Williamson County Sheriff's Office for assistance. Under the regional team concept, all SWAT-trained officers from the 3 cities would respond to SWAT situations, tripling the number of officers on a scene.
We owe it to our citizens to be ready quickly to save lives.
The Cedar Park City Council approved the department's participation last night. The Leander City Council will take on the issue next week, followed by the city of Georgetown.
All right, going into your weekend, we may see temperatures dip just a little bit below average. We're calling it a front, right, Zach?
Yeah, a few degree drop in the temperatures, and that will be refreshing along with the slightly lower humidity. Far from that happening right now. It's going to be a hot, steamy finish to the work week. Look at these numbers. Only lunchtime way up in the 80s. It's right at 90 in Llano. Now you factor in all the moisture in the air. It feels like the mid to upper 90s from LaGrange to Austin and Llano. All eyes on a front toward north. It's a slow mover. It will begin to impact our weather starting tomorrow. We'll time out when that rain will get here, how much we're expecting. That weekend forecast coming up in just a few moments.
The Clinton controversy coming up. Lawmakers on Capitol Hill continue the hunt for the presidential candidate's emails.
She's the runaway frontrunner on the Democratic side, but Hillary Clinton's campaign has been dogged by one problem after another, and now it seems like the popular presidential candidate has a new issue to deal with. Emails from her time as Secretary of State are missing. Fox News correspondent Joel Waldman has the latest from Washington.
15 work-related emails from then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's private server are missing, according to the State Department. The discrepancy was noticed after longtime Clinton confidant Sidney Blumenthal handed over his own email exchanges between himself and Clinton to the House Select Committee investigating the 2012 terror attack in Benghazi, Libya. In a statement, the chair of that committee wrote, "This conclusively shows her email arrangement with herself, which was then vetted by her own lawyers, has resulted in an incomplete public record." The more than dozen missing emails reportedly include back-and-forth correspondence between Blumenthal and Clinton on a number of issues related to what was happening in Libya at the time. Clinton's camp claims all the documents and then some were turned over.
There is some question as to whether what Blumenthal turned over to the committee, whether they are all actually emails or whether they might be other types of documents. And so we might end up in a definition of what is here.
Critics argue the existence of the emails turned over by Blumenthal, but not Clinton, directly contradicts Clinton's news conference back in March. At the time, the former Secretary of State claimed all work emails from her private server were turned over to the State Department.
I took the unprecedented step of asking that the State Department make all my work-related emails public for everyone to see.
The chairman of the House Select Committee on Benghazi, Congressman Trey Gowdy, calls the revelations both significant and troubling. In Washington, Joel Waldman, Fox News.
Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump is facing growing backlash over comments he made about Mexican immigrants. And those statements came during his presidential kickoff speech.
When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists.
In response, the TV network Univision, which calls Trump's comments insulting, is now cutting business ties with the real estate mogul. That includes dropping the Miss USA and Miss Universe pageants, as the organization that runs those pageants is now owned by Trump. Trump is threatening to sue Univision for breach of contract. He's also standing by the comments he made.
All you have to do is speak to the Border Patrol. They'll tell you we have some terrible people coming in, not only from Mexico, they're flowing through Mexico, through the border, but they're coming from all over.
NBC also has ties with Trump. The network released a statement yesterday saying, quote, Donald Trump's opinions do not represent those of NBC. We do not agree with his position on a number of issues, including his recent comments on immigration.
No break from the heat-humidity combo today, but we are tracking a rare summer front that will influence our weekend forecast. First, it'll bring a little bit of rain, some thunderstorms. We'll time it out for you as we check out future radar. And when we finally get a break from the steaminess, it's a possibility. That weekend forecast is coming up next.
The Fox 7 AccuWeather Advantage with meteorologist Zach Shields on Fox 7 News.
Not too many rain clouds nearby right now. That will change over time today. The heat will win out along with a heavy dose of sunshine. Clouds having a tough time building up. They're moving in from the Gulf. Eventually, these clouds will build up into rainmakers tomorrow. We're just waiting on this front to sag southward. It's a slow mover. It's not going to get here today. It will impact our weather tomorrow. That's when the rain will become more widespread during the day, probably after lunchtime Saturday, and then more spotty to scattered coming up on Sunday. Decent chance to add to these rainfall totals for the month and also for the year. 88 right now. Lots of blue sky. Heat index of 96, dew point of 73. Very sticky. Three things on the allergy count. Molds, of course, in the high zone. Low amounts of grass pollen and sagebush. Right now it's 87 in Bastrop, 88 for you guys in LaGrange, right at 90. Atlanta 87 and Mason. Heat indices, if you factor in the high humidity, it feels more like the mid to upper 90s from Austin all the way toward Houston, Corpus Christi. So far, we've had 15 90-degree days. We'll make it 16, still below the average. We're going to be hanging out for much of the afternoon in the shade in the low to mid 90s. And then tonight we'll go from the 80s this evening to low to mid 70s first thing tomorrow morning. And you betcha with that high humidity, heat indices right around the century mark for much of the afternoon. Here comes a front that's going to do a couple of things. First of all, it'll be the focal point for some rain, and then will provide us minor heat and humidity relief. We have the heat bubble building out west. They are gearing up for record highs in triple-digit territory from Arizona through California, Oregon, Washington, Montana, Utah. And then there's a big low out east, and that's where it's going to be cloudy, cool, rainy. We're kind of in between, and that low is going to force that front through. If the front comes through in the morning, we're not going to see a whole lot of rain. But with fronts in the summer, they actually slow down. And I think that front will come through in the afternoon during peak time of heating, and that could set off some scattered showers and storms. Now, some of that rain could clip the hill country late tonight, first thing tomorrow morning, and it's going to flare up again in a scattered fashion mid to late afternoon, and then things calm down Saturday night. And if the front comes through, the focus for rain on Sunday will stay just toward south and east. So it's not going to be a total washout. Saturday morning, rain chances are pretty low, and then they'll climb to 60% for a few hours in the afternoon, and then the rain chances will drop Saturday night, Sunday morning, and then go up slightly Sunday afternoon. Severe weather threat will be low. We don't have the upper level dynamics like an upper low to work with this front to produce explosive thunderstorms that could tornadic or hail producer, nothing like that. We may see some gusty winds coming out of those storms and isolated flash flooding on average. We're thinking about half an inch, 3/4 of an inch. The heaviest rain is going to be hit and miss. There's still going to be a few spots with some of those slow-moving thunderstorms where you could pick up inch and a half. Temperatures slowly dropping in the upper 80s, low 90s for highs, slightly below average. And you'll really notice the difference behind the front Sunday and Monday in the morning hours. With the drier conditions, lows will dip into the 60s. With the front in the summer, that's the best we can do with the heat relief. So after today, temperatures will be slightly below average, 60% chance of rain Saturday, 40% Sunday, and then just isolated stuff next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
And with all the rain we've seen this year, mosquitoes are becoming a real problem around central Texas, including in Williamson County.
Yeah, to fight it out there, crews are conducting fogging to stop the mosquito breeding grounds in their tracks.
Williamson County has been monitoring the mosquito population, and especially here in Hutto, it's been growing like crazy. They're actually spraying for these mosquitoes to kill their breeding grounds. They've been doing so for the last few days, and they're going to do that again tonight. That's happening around midnight, and they're going to be focusing on parts of Hutto Park between Rosnovac and Saul Streets, Old Town from FM 1660 north towards Cottonwood Creek, as well as Creekside and Creek Bend subdivisions. And this comes after a very wet month of May, after the Memorial Day Day flooding, mosquito traps were set in various spots in Hutto, and they found that the area has an elevated mosquito level. And while no mosquitoes have tested positive for West Nile virus, the city still wants to bring the population down to a normal range. Now in Austin, officials don't plan on spraying, but they do want residents to get rid of any standing water on their property, as it takes just a tablespoon of water for mosquitoes to breed.
Mosquitoes can carry illnesses of public health concern that do make people ill. So we recommend doing a integrated mosquito management, which is reducing their breeding sites.
So here are some ways to prevent mosquitoes from breeding on your property. You can turn over all water storage containers and keep them dry, change water in flower vases every other day, clear fallen leaves and drains and gardens weekly, as well as remove stagnant water collected on leaves, tree branches, and in drains, as well as not littering. Discard unwanted cups and bottles into recycling bins. Now, the insecticide that Williamson County is using is called Permanon, and what's really good about it is that it'll kill mosquitoes and gnats along with other insects. And also there is no threat for health reasons, but they are asking people to bring in their dogs, bring in their water bowls, also bring in any children's toys inside while the spraying is happening. In Hutto, Tanya Ortega, Fox 7 News Edge.
A big sell-off overseas has some investors nervous. I'm Lauren Simonetti in New York. Business is next.
Stocks in China plunge. Also, Facebook and HBO are signing a deal. Fox Business Network's Lauren Simonetti has that and more in the Midday Market Report.
Chinese stocks plunging as panicked investors rush to sell over fears that an 8-month-long bull market is coming to an end. The Shanghai Composite falling 7% overnight, and get this, it's down 19% from its recent high, putting it close to what we call bear market territory. But the index is up dramatically this year as Chinese investors have been showing a big appetite for stocks. BlackRock says brokers in China are opening 4 million new accounts a week. Apple says it is removing games from its online app store that feature the Confederate flag in offensive or mean-spirited ways. The move comes just days after Apple's CEO, Tim Cook, called on people to honor the victims of the Charleston, South Carolina church shooting by eradicating racism and the symbols that feed it. Facebook and HBO are teaming up. That means Facebook will show HBO premieres of shows including The Brink and Ballers. Facebook wants to dive deeper into video, and it will compete with Google to do so. Its YouTube service from Google has previously released premieres of hit shows, including Girls and Newsroom. And Nike is a winner after reporting quarterly results that beat expectations. The athletic gear giant controlled expenses in the quarter and continued to put out products that customers around the world wanted to buy. One analyst noting that Nike was even able to sell its highest priced basketball sneakers. And you know how expensive those can be. That's business. For more, check out foxbusiness.com. In New York, I'm Lauren Simonetti.
All right, stick around. Zach's going to take a final look at our weekend forecast when we come back.
All right, today just sunny, hot, and muggy, and then a front comes through. Look out for some scattered showers and storms Saturday afternoon. Less rain, less heat and humidity for the second half of the weekend. Scott Fisher will be here at 5 o'clock with the latest information for weekend forecast.
All right, Zach, thank you very much. Thank you for watching, everybody. Next news comes your way at 5 o'clock. We'll see you later.
The Fox 7 News Edge is always on My Fox Austin. It's Personique on the Spot's 3rd anniversary celebration. Buy one, get one free on all non-invasive procedures. Visit Personique.com.